Oh, Travis Wayne Goodsell. Joseph Smith's birthday. We'll get into it. But first, what is a donation, Mormons? Or, in other words, which or how many different donation types can you give to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Well, there's a lot. There's LDS Philanthropies, there's LDS Charities, and then there's the old standbys that, if you'll bear with me as I wait, as I try to bring it up. Old and new, there we go. See, the tithing used to be limited, and then it grew with a number of lists on the tithing slip, as they were called. They'd have an envelope and a tithing slip in the wards that we'd attend, and we'd get those, and we'd hand them to the bishopric, and then came the complaints not to give them to the bishopric in public, as they would count the money there at church, which provided a risk for having thieves want to steal them. But tithing, fast offering, general missionary, ward missionary, humanitarian aid, isn't that fast offering? And other, and you were supposed to specify. And then they added tithing, fast offering, ward missionary, general missionary, Book of Mormon. Isn't that what tithing goes for? Humanitarian aid, temple construction. Isn't that what tithing goes for? Perpetual education, other, specify. So I need to again teach, because YouTube is censoring my videos and Mormons are continually getting their asses kicked by the church, James Huntsman, for not understanding what tithing is by the church. A donation is defined as something that is given to a charity, especially a sum of money. That's it. It's kind of vague. Google search dictionary definition. Nonetheless, that's what the church claims tithing is. And Mormons have been brainwashed into believing tithing is a donation. The others that I listed, yeah, all donations, because you freely give them to the church for those specific uses. But tithing is different. Tithing is defined as a type of racket and a scheme of an organized crime perpetrated by a potentially hazardous group which guarantees protection outside the sanction of the law to another entity or individual from violence, ransacking, arson, remember that, arson, vandalism, and other such threats, in exchange for the extorted payments in cash or kind. Okay, everybody in unison, both Mormon and ex-Mormon, what is tithing called? Fire insurance. Where does it come from? Malachi. It's 3 and 4. In 3, verse 8, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. See what the church has done? Ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. Now pay attention to what is left out. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse. What's missing? The offerings, the donations. But what's tithing used for anciently? The storehouse? It's for the poor. It's not for building temples, churches, or publications of the Book of Mormon. That's fast offerings for the church. And here, tithing is the requirement to give to the poor. And the church does not make fast offerings a requirement. No, number 10 on the Temple Recommend interview for worthiness, do you pay a full tithe? You cannot be Mormon, you cannot participate in Mormonism unless you are a full tithe payer. You can go and sit in the chapel and listen to the meetings, but you can't do a goddamn thing unless you are a full tithe payer. Do you see the difference? You are forced to pay tithing with the extorted guarantee that you will be saved from the latter day burning, which is in chapter 4. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, that do wickedly, shall be as stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Is that not in our Mormon scriptures too? Yeah. All over the place. Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, Joseph Smith, history. Do you not understand what a protection racket is now? And what the difference is between a donation and a protection racket? So could you imagine if there was among the 15 million Mormons now who are upset with the church because of the fraud for the use of our tithing? It's been in the news. James Huntsman, calling it a donation, lost his case, but nonetheless made the news nationally. And now you have the billionaire who's left the church and said the church is fraud. He's not asking for tithing back. He just says fraud. They cause harm. Oh, that's from the definition of a protection racket. He doesn't call it that, though. Doesn't reference tithing, though. And so many Mormons want their money back. I've seen the comments. I want my money back. Yeah, we all do. The church is a fraud. We have been scammed. The church gives our tithing to enemies to this nation who use that money to attack America. Remember Russia? Yeah, they use solar winds with our money for tithing. That was last year. This year, they use Kronos. Both solar winds and Kronos are tied to Mormons. Do you see what Russia does? Yeah, it's funny for them. It's a joke. But it compromises the church, because the church willingly gave them tithing money. And then there's Shanghai. Yeah, the church likewise gave tithing and American tax dollars to China, who then used that money to also cyber terrorize. This is terrorism against America by Russia and China. The church is funding terrorism with tithing. And our government won't lock the church up because everybody's calling it a donation. And so can you imagine, we've already seen Black Lives Matter, the movement. They did their protests all last year. And Governor Herbert, along with many other nations, or states in the nation, Utah considers themselves an independent nation, sent out the police to brutalize Black Lives Matter protesters. Who are protesting for what? They're protesting against police brutality. And the police are brutalizing them for protesting police brutality. You see how wrong that was? Governor Herbert called them domestic terrorists. Nelson called them terrorists, saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. Oaks came out and said, hey, if you've got a problem, take it up in the courts. Don't protest. And then this year, he says, don't take it up in the courts, change the law. Like the church is doing with the religious freedom movement. Can you imagine a woman raped? And there were thousands of rape kits that just got tossed aside here in Utah. Thousands. So there are thousands of women who know what I'm talking about. Now imagine you decide to get angry because you see him at the store, at church, at school, at work, and you're so traumatized because of the rape that you blow up at him in a rage. Because the cops didn't do a goddamn thing for you. They tossed your rape kit aside. And then imagine the police get called in and you get hauled off to prison, charged for terrorism. God bless America, land of the free. Stand beside her. So here we have KUTV2, that's a CBS affiliate, here in Utah. Former doctor threatened to kill prophet in call to church headquarters, report says. Can you guess where this is going? Investigators say a former doctor called the headquarters of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and threatened to kill the prophet of the church and everyone else in the building. They exaggerate purposely so that they can embellish the charges so that they'll plead guilty and then to lesser charges. That's what they do. They aren't honest. So don't believe the actual charges. An arrest report from Las Vegas police obtained by 2 News says Isaac Hearn, 55, made the call on December 13th. According to police, a church security officer took the call. Did he? No. No, that's not how it works. See, they're already lying. They're already covering up the narrative to get this guy locked up. See what they're doing? Okay. What the hell is wrong with you this morning? a sweet old lady who's on the phone, or sometimes a sweet old man. They're missionaries in charge of the phones. They're at church headquarters. It's the general number. They have to transfer it to security. And when the guy starts using expletives deleted, that's when they transfer it. And Hearn identified himself before, stating he was going to kill everyone, starting with the prophet Russell M. Nelson. You get the expletive deleted out of town. I'm coming to kill you right now. I'm coming to kill you, the report cites from a recording of Hearn's call. Police say the church's investigators, and I'm sure church security knows how to de-escalate a phone call, don't they? The whole police department in Utah don't even know the word, let alone what it means. Literally, I've talked to police officers. I've used the word de-escalation, and they get a confused look on their face, and I say, do you know what that means? No. Holy crap! I thought that was just a joke. And yet, now I'm finding out all over the press that, yeah, the unions purposely don't tell police how to de-escalate, so they don't know the word, they don't know the meaning. They purposely aggravate conditions to cause a war. And I can see this security guard with a gun purposely doing this to get him on the recording. Let's see. Police say church investigations department. There is no investigations department. It's a file system. My number is 36434. We're getting to that. Again, I've already done the videos. Which consists of former and local federal law enforcement. Now, they're hired security who failed in their jobs. Began looking into the call and tied it to Hearn. What do you mean tied it to Hearn? He said he gave his name, didn't he? Why did they need to tie it to Hearn? He said who his name was? Just see how they lie. They're purposely exaggerating things. With whom they had previous dealings. Oh, really? Hearn lives in southern Nevada, and church investigators told Las Vegas police that he had previously come to church headquarters in Salt Lake City and a church in St. George. For what? To attend church? To visit Temple Square? Purposely leaving it blank. Las Vegas police began investigating the threat and spoke with a family member of Hearn who had told investigators that Hearn was angry with the church, which he blamed for problems in his life. Yeah, they take 10% of your income. We're in a financial crisis. Ex-Brother Green said the church causes harm, taking money from the poor. A family member stated that Hearn had contacted the church because he wanted his, donations. And they put in parentheses, tithes, refunded. That was it. That's the real news that the church embellished and blew up out of proportion. He wants his tithing back because the church is a fraud. But the church refused. Of course they did. Which caused him to become increasingly frustrated and angry. Yes! The church does not de-escalate. They could just do it in private. They've got 200 billions at the end of last year. 200 billion for just the tithing. They're trillionaires. So what if they give 10,000 or 100,000 if he's rich back to him? It's petty cash to the church. They just do it in private. Here you go. Thanks for being a member. Have a good day, sir. But no. They have to say no. We have victimized you, and now we're saying, screw you, we're taking the money and running. Who's the real criminal here? And who's the real victim? According to court documents, Hearn was an ophthalmologist, but lost his medical license 2 years ago. Why? Does it have something to do with the church? As an ophthalmologist, yeah, it could have been upwards of 100,000 in tithing he wanted back. Police arrested Hearn, and he initially denied the accusation that he had made the threatening call, claiming someone had stolen his identity. During the course of the interview, police say Hearn admitted. Oh, really? During the interview? I know exactly where they put him. They tortured him for a confession. Oh, now they're giving him his rights to a trial with an impartial jury of his peers after he's been forced a confession. Yeah, now you see what's going on, don't you? They finally connected him because he confessed under torture. This is not America. Dear God. Is it David Bowie who sings that song for Falcon and the Snowman? Hearn then stated he blamed the church for the professional and financial calamities he had suffered in life. There's a reason why the Miranda rights are in place. It's so that the police and the accused do not abuse the accused, or the accuser does not blame the accused, so that there is no false accusation made. The police automatically are supposed to read him his rights, but they didn't adhere to the law because they locked him up in jail, tortured him to get a confession, because they were never going to let him leave unless he gave it to them. And so he gave it to them. Now they got him. His life is destroyed now. All because the church is a fraud. Blame the church for the professional and financial calamities he has suffered in life. Like I said, how did he lose his job and his license? How does he connect it to the church? He's obviously mentally ill. They need to lock him up in a concentration camp. Utah has one. How do I know about that? Hold on. And that he had awoken from a dream angry. Oh my God! And decided to call the church. Hearn was booked in the Clark County Detention Center on a charge of making a threat of an act of terrorism. Because the church is a fraud. He's the terrorist. All the church had to do was say, oh, okay, here you go, sir. Thank you for your service to the church. Have a good day. But nope. It's a protection racket. They break your kneecaps. Metaphorically. This man needs to be freed immediately. So, let's find the picture. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. How much is that doggy in the window? The one that is for sale. There it is. We'll make sure to put it in the video for you again. You've heard that my first ex abandoned the marriage, fled the country, took our kids with her, and I got screwed without getting screwed. The church supported her, helped her fund it, funded her up in Canada. What about me? Yeah, the bird. I got the bird. I was even told by the bishop, you're not getting anything from the church. I then went to another ward to get away. That bishop told me, I've got too many other people that need help. I'm not helping you. Oh my God. So yeah, I was financially ruined. She got the divorce in Canada without my consent, and I was destroyed. Because Utah listens to foreign governments about American citizens. And so yeah, I get my paycheck at the beginning of the year, and I think it would have been 2009, and it's over half the check gone. I had no idea how I was going to pay for rent now, let alone food and gasoline for the car. They're not supposed to take more than 50%, but the bird. And the church aided and abetted. Destroyed my life. Shurtleff even took me to court. You remember Shurtleff, Mr. Crime, who got away with it because he's Mormon, and the other attorney general who got arrested for crime was let go by a jury of his Mormon peers. Yeah, impartial, right? Yeah. Sure. And so the FBI also refused to give up the documents on Shurtleff, and so they had to drop the case on Shurtleff. That Shurtleff, who then sued the state of Utah for $1 million for damages for the false arrest. Wouldn't it be nice to have that kind of power, that kind of control over the courts of Utah? Yeah, Hearn didn't get any of that, did he? And so, the First Amendment, along with religious freedom and freedom of speech, which are under attack right now with the religious freedom movement, and protesters getting brutalized by police, other protesters getting arrested, charged with terrorism. There's also the part in there that says the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's part of the protesting. It's illegal in the state of Utah. I've been telling you that over and over and over again. I told you, Herbert called Black Lives Matter protesters terrorists. That's the go-to word since 9/11. Oh, you're a threat to the government? You're a terrorist. You dare protest according to your First Amendment rights. Terrorist! So I did just that. I sent the governor, the attorney general, and the court of Utah, along with the church, a petition for a redress of grievances, listing my grievances. That's it. That's all. So yeah, guess what happened? I'm now the bad guy. I'm the terrorist. How dare I report a rape? And so we'll rape you in a different way. File folder 36434. Like I told you. This was the church's submission of proof, evidence, that I was a terrorist. 01/02/98. January 2nd, 1998. And 0002. Goodsell, Travis. Project RE. Hebrew Connections. Oh, big bad terrorist am I. 3/16, or to Egyptian, there's a second line there, to Egypt. 3/16/98. 1268. Goodsell, Travis. Wonders how raw they don't have Paleo-Hebrew script in their fonts. Connects to JST, Joseph Smith translation, of Genesis 1:1. Yeah, I didn't wonder. I was giving you the answer. The day before my birthday. 07/09/98. 3458. Goodsell, Travis. More on biblical translations. Name of deity. That would be Zeus as Yah, the Hebrew god Yah, which is only in one place as translated into English as Jah in Psalm. And because of that, we can then give you the reference real quick here. Psalm 68, verse 4. Singing unto God, sing praises to his name. Sound familiar? Extol him that rideth upon the heavens by his name, Jah. It's Zeus, and rejoice before him. Pictorially the same, and I would dare say phonetically the same from Paleo-Hebrew, because Jah is the European corruption of the Semitic Hebrew, Yah. But pictorially, it's a direct match with Greek. And thus, though it's all Greek to you, like I said, I'm the decipherer. Way back when, I was coming to the church, hey, Joseph Smith is a translator. Awesome, church is true, right? No! They used it against me. I'm the threat because I said Joseph Smith was a translator. And here we are on his birthday, and the church to this day denounces his name and reputation. We're getting to that. Because there's more. 12/09/99 5984. Good cell. Travis Wayne this time. Retranslated Genesis into Paleo-Hebrew. Do you see what was going on here? I give them my Paleo-Hebrew decipherment. They call it a terrorist threat to the church, and then I connect the. I don't understand Joseph Smith translation. Raw. It's in Genesis 1:1. It could be. No, that's seer. But yeah, the seer is raw in Paleo-Hebrew. So yeah, that's probably what it was. That's Peter is seer, which is in Egyptian. But I was making the connection Paleo-Hebrew here. So that's the vocabulary. So first the alphabet script, then the vocabulary. Then I was making connections with the vocabulary for translations, such as the deity, Zeus, and then translation. And I'm the threat to the church, showing them step by step Joseph Smith is a translator. So I gave the government and the church my petition for a redress of grievances. The church added this to the sentence, or the I've forgotten what it's called, discovery packet. I gave it to him on the 6th of August, 2008. That was the anniversary of our divorce that she got in Canada. And it was also her birthday. How coincidental. She got an official divorce from me up in Canada without my consent on her birthday. How did she pay for the lawyer again? She only had $200 from prostitution. Lost track of where I was going to next because of this interference. Oh yes, August 6th, 2008. And so 2 weeks later, like I said, I recognized that whole scam on ex-brother Hearn, because I too was victimized in that exact same way. I'm thinking those are supposed to be part of it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, was I sent to a judge right away? Nope. I spent all day, which was technically afternoon into the late evening, there in the Salt Lake County Jail booking. I was put in the drunk tank. I was told by the medical guy if I didn't let him do my readings, my measurements or whatever, that I would be put in the drunk tank. And just resisting. I let him do it. had no choice. I'm going to be tortured if I don't comply and conform. And after he got his readings, and several hours later, as the one woman in the booth, she was looking at me and smiling, and she wouldn't stop staring. It was very weird. It's almost like she knew me or was hitting on me, or maybe she thought this was all a joke. I have no idea. But yeah, I am put in the drunk tank. Yeah, they put me in the drunk tank anyway. What I found out, why it took so long, is they couldn't find a history of mental illness. None. Perfectly sane. Honors student. Deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. And deciphered Egyptian by that point, too. I'm fully aware of my faculties. Fully competent for trial to defend myself. All I did was petition the government for a redress of grievances. Anybody familiar with the story of Abinadi? Locked up by the wicked, great and abominable church of King Noah for being a terrorist and called mentally ill. They use the term mad. The Mad Hatter, it's insane, mentally ill, crazy, retarded, which is an old term. It's not allowed to be used anymore, so they don't say retard, they say tardation. You've probably heard drugs for tardation. Tardation is caused by drugs. And so a second tardation is thus retardation. It's a scientific terminology. Nonetheless, it's been used in society for abusive bullying and name-calling. Sort of like anti-Mormon is being used as a bullying name-calling on those who leave the church. And so yeah, I'm tortured. I'm not confessing. You know, I had the guy sitting in the back of the police car trying to, all these different tactics to get me to confess. So you think you're smarter than us, don't you? Do you? I was given my Miranda rights. I was told to remain silent. Little did I know that you have to say, lawyer. If you don't say lawyer, it doesn't count. They can get ya. But the driver knew. She then betrayed me anyway, because she was forced to. She's the one signing the whole discovery thing on the police side. And, it was all just a big scam, because they had nothing on me. They had to call my petition for a redress of grievances a weapon of mass destruction. The reason why they called me a terrorist is because in the courts they now then justified sealing the documents from the public. Because I'm such a big bad criminal, as I listed from the church already. I've proven Joseph Smith is true, therefore I'm the terrorist. With a petition for a redress of grievances, which is now a weapon of mass destruction. And yeah, you see in the report by the officer about their fear. Oh, they're trembling because of this petition, which is a terrorist rhetoric. They have to embellish. They can't just say, oops, wrongful arrest? Oh well. We've destroyed your life. We've removed you from your job as a federal officer working for the Postal Department in Draper. Oops. Yep. And so, yeah, they had to figure out what to do now. They couldn't pink slip me to the University of Utah, as they say they wanted to do. No history of mental illness. And I've gone over with you, it's all a fraud. There is no such thing. They did it in Nazi Germany in World War II to the Jews to justify locking them up and to perform human experimentation of torture in concentration camps. That's what they decided to do to me. I never got a hearing. I was put after the drunk tank and booked. I went before a little girl behind a desk who asked me, "Did you write a book?" I said, "I've written lots of books." And off I went with my fingerprints and their digital scanner and all that. And the police officers were saying, "Oh wow, your fingerprints are so clear, you better not commit a crime." I'm being booked for a crime. I'm going away for the rest of my life. I already knew what was being done to me. I already knew my life was over. I never expected to get out. I knew the system was corrupt. I knew the church was corrupt. But I didn't know how high up it went. That's when I got out and found out. Found the money trail. And so, yeah, Mark Augustine works for the Defendants Association, you know, the free lawyer. Yeah, I was first put in the psychiatric observation area in Salt Lake County Jail. No cause, but they just do it anyway. It's a torture technique. Stripped of all my clothes, well air conditioned, all metal. The drinking fountain toilet only works for a couple of seconds. Then you have to wait a minute before you can push it again for a couple of seconds. Not allowed to brush my teeth, not allowed to shower, not allowed to shave. I'm in the cell 24/7. I have little kids knocking on my window cell, bulletproof glass, waking me up. "Are you thinking about killing yourself? Are you thinking about killing others?" I'm given spoiled, rotten food. So yeah, I would go on to lose 50 pounds in those 7 months in jail without ever going to trial, without ever having a hearing. After 2 weeks, I realized they were never going to let me out of there. So, when the female psychiatrist thought she'd take over to see if she can get me to talk and confess, I told her, toothache. And I was put in Supermax with the white supremacist who killed the cop while on a trip to the hospital and then got caught at Arby's after stealing his car. Curtis Allgaier. He was in there. Brian David Mitchell was in there. Yeah. They turned his wife on him, and so now he was going to the federal courts. So yeah, I got to see him there. He's perfectly sane. Nothing wrong with him. He played the system. But Orrin Hatch wouldn't allow it. So now he's in prison. And then Easy. Have to give out a shout out to Easy. Thanks for the paper, dude. You are out, right? You didn't go back in. You're not still there. He's a great chess player. And a great singer. He would get me paper. So yeah, I've learned a lot about the jail system there. You can break out. It can be done. Thanks to certain people who let it be known to the rest of us, as the security guards there had to come in full armor gear and to lock the thing down. And but yeah, it can be done with a simple sheet of paper, apparently. Anybody can get out of any jail. But anyway, yeah, lots of times in jail. And so, yeah, I was betrayed by former missionary companion from Newburgh, New York, on my New York mission, Mark Augustine, who was brought in by my lawyer so that he could purposely lock me away in a concentration camp for revenge, because he got to do whatever kind of mission he wanted to do while we were 6 months together in Newburgh, while he constantly was going to the mission president, putting us on splits. Those of you who have been on missions know what splits are. The zone leaders would be the ones that split with me, because they had to drive him to the mission president to bitch and moan. Oh, Travis is letting me do whatever I want on the mission, and I want to be with somebody else. Yeah, literally, whatever he wanted to do. That was my thing on the mission. My companion. Whatever you want to do, however you want to run the mission in this area, it's up to you. If you want to tract, we'll tract. If you want to call on referrals, we'll call on referrals. If you whatever. I let them do what they wanted to do. And the majority of the time, most of my companions wanted to slough off. So I got to read the Bible from cover to cover. But yeah, we actually did work, because he was doing things, but he was unhappy with doing things. He expected me to do things to tell him what to do. It's just, dude, first rule of leadership: train your replacement. Duh. Doesn't everybody know this? Well, anyway, yeah, he got his revenge. I got locked up in the state of Utah's concentration camp, which is wrongly called a hospital. Because a hospital, they have medical doctors that actually, take care of your physical ailments. It's a mental asylum. All they did was change the name. We are tortured. We are locked in cells. and were tortured. It's a minimum 3 months unless you come out and confess. You are no longer a human being. All your rights and privileges are gone. Your lawyer can't even talk with you anymore. Your judge won't even listen to you. You are under their control. You are their prisoner, and you no longer exist until they decide you're competent for trial. Like I said, you have to confess. Never given a hearing, let alone a trial to defend myself. And the lawyer, Adam Elmore, who's now in private practice, said, "Oh yeah, I'm an expert on the First Amendment rights." And he sent me up the river. Did the prosecution's bidding. Said, well, they're going to do it to you anyway, so we might as well do it to you. Wow. All because Joseph Smith is a translator. So yeah, I got out only because 3 different key people retired. Mark Shurtleff, and then his successor from the scandal, and then so Sean Reyes was the new guy, and he dropped the charges. And then the psycho doctor, they can't be called doctors, they're just PhDs, that's all they are. They're not real doctors. The government gives them powers they don't have as expert witnesses and doctors to lock people up and torture with drugs. That's it, that's all. They're drug pushers legalized by the government, using fallacy arguments to justify clients. And then the evaluator. The same evaluator who said, you can lie, so I'm never going to let you go. That's not according to the law. All I have to do is answer the questions correctly. You're supposed to ask the questions as written. I'm supposed to answer. That's it. I could lie. He retired. And a brand new graduated girl was assigned. Oops! That's not supposed to happen. She read the questions. I gave the answers. You're good to go. No, he can't leave. So yeah, the other evaluator came in, who I had previously had, and he says, we're going off script. And I'm going, oh crap. But no, he had to let me go. Because if that brand new girl, just barely hired, all of a sudden has a black mark on her record, yeah. So he had no choice. They had to let me go. And here I am. I found out the church had paid the person who told the judge I should be incarcerated in the concentration camp of Utah. Denied a trial. Dr. Nancy B. Cohn. Again, doctor is for PhD. Notice Cohn. It's her married name. Nonetheless, I refer you to Nazi Germany in World War II, what they did to the Jews. Then refer you back to her name. The church is using Jews to torture others, like the Jews in Nazi Germany's World War II. Remember, I did the W.W. Phelps video yesterday. The Danites threatened him, and he betrayed Joseph because he was threatened to. They turned him to be their weapon. So, there's Joseph Smith and Joseph Smith history. And yes, it's not historically accurate, because I told you why. But after his first vision, he incorrectly informs us about a communication with a Methodist preacher. Some few days after I had this vision, I happened to be in the company with one of the Methodist preachers. Some few years after this supposed vision, you mean? After the death of your firstborn, Joseph Smith III, the first power, and then lost 116 pages because you went to the Methodists for comfort because that was Emma's family's church. And because of Joseph Smith getting arrested on the 20th of May, 1826, for glass looking, Methodists wanted nothing to do with his kind, and thus his wife and thus her parents had to leave Harmony north of Pittsburgh. And so Senior's pissed, and so they create the whole Harmony Susquehanna River, Pennsylvania, which it was no longer called Harmony. It used to be called Harmony until the post office came in and said, we can't have two Harmonies. Pick one. And so they, the Harmony Susquehanna, changed the name of Harmony before the Smiths even got there. That's what's important to figure out when you're doing history, especially church history. The church is lying to us. But anyway, this is the Methodist preacher. And so it's not about the first vision, obviously. Conversing with him on the subject of religion. Yeah, about the death of his kid. I took occasion to give him an account of the vision which I had. No. This is afterwards. Again, the Presbyterian was the one who officiated over Alvin's death in 1823. Told the family, well, he's going to burn in hell because you didn't get him baptized. The Methodists, you're a glass looker. Get the hell out. You seeing a pattern here? Joseph Smith sort of doesn't like Christianity. He and his family were Congregationalists in Vermont. Thus, the Ethan Smith view of the Hebrews, that's Congregationalist. That was with the Cowdreys after the Smiths had already left when he wrote that book, but it's Congregationalist. That's their religion. And the New Israelites, they were a branch off of Congregationalists because Nathaniel Wood was excommunicated by the Congregationalists. But he continued his belief system as Congregationalist. And this is not mentioned here, is it? Why? Because they don't want you to know. Because their lives are in danger. They've got people wanting them dead because of what happened in Canandaigua, New York, on September 11th, 1826. September 11th, Canandaigua, New York. W.W. Phelps did the video because Canandaigua, New York. And so, an account of the vision which I had. Do you see what it's actually about? It's about him getting arrested for being a glass looker. as Joseph is calling it, having visions, being a visionary man. I was greatly surprised at his behavior. Our kid just died. Why are you kicking us out? He treated my communication not only lightly, but with great contempt, saying it was all of the devil. Talking about him being a glass looker, that there were no such things as glass looking and glass looking in these days. All such things had ceased with the apostles. You see what's going on here? See how Joseph Smith is purposely wording it this way, and that there would never be any more of them. Joseph Smith had nothing to do with writing the Book of Mormon. Sidney Rigdon, that's the Baptists, and he left the Baptists all disappointed because Alexander Campbell of the Campbellites, which is a breakoff of the Baptists, which Sidney Rigdon was a part of, refused to retranslate the whole Bible. Campbell only did the New Testament. Sidney was pissed and left. He wanted to do the retranslation of the whole Bible. You see where this is going? I've already done the videos on this. This should be no surprise unless you're brand new and you're still listening after over an hour. And so yes, he was instantly paid upon joining the church because of Parley P. Pratt, who was a member of Sidney's congregation, who just happened to be given the Book of Mormon to take back to his Sidney Rigdon's congregational church. Not congregational, it was still Baptist in form and function. So that's why the end of the Book of Mormon, there's extra time, extra space on the plates, and so Sidney Rigdon puts in his religious beliefs. Baptism at 8 years old, and the wording for the sacrament prayers, and ta-da! All Sidney. That's not Congregationalist. They allowed Sidney to have a say in the religion because he has done the work. He's getting paid. I soon found, however, that telling the story that I am a glass looker excited a great deal of prejudice against me among the professors of religion, and was the cause of great persecution, which continued to increase. No, you were removed and sent to the Whitmers with Oliver Cowdery now as the babysitter rather than the scribe and the messenger. And though I was an obscure boy of only 14, 15 years old, you were an adult by then. My circumstances in life, that's going towards the one book that Sidney Rigdon used about a 14-year-old boy. There's two books about Napoleon or something like that, in which the one is actually written by a 14-year-old boy, the other one is a fictional tale as if written by a 14-year-old boy, something like that. You refer to your ex-Mormon sources on the components made up in the Book of Mormon for that information. Let's see. I can probably even look it up for you, but I don't want to. It's over an hour long already. Let's see. Yet men of high standing would take notice sufficient to excite the public mind against me. Not quite. What's going on here? And create a bitter persecution. And this was common among all the sects, all united to persecute me. He's prophesying here, guys. He's talking about the latter-day Christ. Joseph Smith was the founding Christ. And again, if you're going, what the hell are you just saying? There's only Jesus of Constantine. After I just read the first vision, sort of skipped over it in this video, but I've gone over it. Where's Jesus in the first vision? Well, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. We're not Christian. Constantine turned apocalyptic literature, called the Gospels now, into histories. That's why they're called Gospels now. They're no longer apocalyptic literature, because Constantine, at the Nicene Council for the Nicene Creed, turned Jesus of apocalyptic literature into history documents. 300 years later, now all of a sudden they're history. Why didn't he do that? Oh, they did do that to Samson and Moses and etc. All of it's apocalyptic literature. Remember? I'm the terrorist because I figured all this out. These videos are weapons of mass destruction. That's why YouTube has to censor me and silence me. Well, it caused me serious reflection then, and often has since, how very strange it was that an obscure boy, a little over 14 years of age, and one too who was doomed to the necessity of obtaining a scanty maintenance by his daily labor. Yes, because being a glass looker doesn't pay well. And yet, somehow he's paying for a home in Harmony, Susquehanna River, Pennsylvania, from his father-in-law. While he's not even living there, he's out at the Whitmer farm, finishing the book that he still needs to figure out how to pay for, because Martin Harris is now the wicked man. Which they'd eventually have to go back to him anyway, because they had nobody else who could pay the money. So how did he come up with, what was it, $2,000 for the home? Yeah, I'm sure that's a legitimate document, Daddy-in-law. But it is interesting that he would do that for his new son-in-law when he had to elope with Emma because of Daddy. So, did he actually elope with her then? That's now a question that I have to have answered, but not for this video. Should be thought a character of sufficient importance to attract the attention of the great ones of the most popular sects of the day, and in a manner to create in them a spirit of the most bitter persecution and reviling. I can relate. It is fascinating. I read the words of Joseph Smith as a boy and wanted to emulate him. That's why I'm so sarcastically hilarious. That and the Jesus character from Matthew 23 and Elijah and the priests of Baal. Is your God taking a piss? Should we wait for him? Maybe you should cut yourselves more. Maybe that'll work. But yeah, I have become Joseph Smith, just like Daniel Craig became Bond. And I have no time to die. He has no time to die. He's now dead. I'm about to die. The Book of Mormon's in there. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was hilarious. At about 38 minutes in, that's where it is. At the bar, Bond asks Felix, "Who's the Book of Mormon?" Oh man, now I'm laughing too hard that my jaw's hurting. However, it was nevertheless a fact that I had a rock and a hat. It's actually two, but he had a third that the church is perpetuating as the rock, which were not the rocks, so there were two other rocks. I have thought since, and I felt like Paul, King Agrippa. So it is with me. Saw two personages. Personages? You mean Heavenly Father and Jesus? They in reality did speak to me. No, I already did the video. Oh God. Hilarious. Again, Joseph Smith is the founding prophet, the son of Joseph Smith Sr., with the same names. You remember the Book of Mormon? Oh, prophecy! It's true! Heavenly Father is Joseph Smith Sr. The son personage is Junior. They have a work for him to do. That's the whole point of the first vision, is that it's about Joseph taking the responsibility to be the front man, to get the Book of Mormon warning out for us right now. And so then you get to Moroni, and again, the church. I had written out several things going to bed last night. Is Joseph Smith a translator? Church says no. Is it Moroni, or is Joseph correct as Nephi? Church says Joseph is wrong. He's not a translator. It's Moroni. Joseph is wrong. It's not Nephi. The church edited the Book of Mormon. Joseph, Sidney Rigdon, and Senior, who rewrote the 116 pages, are wrong. Has to be edited. And polygamy. Joseph Smith had monogamy. The Book of Mormon. 4 times. No polygamy. And his 1835 Doctrine and Covenants, a whole chapter on monogamy. And what is now Section 131 had been gutted by Brigham Young when he put in Section 132 about polygamy. It was Joseph saying a monogamous couple will be exalted. Gone. So is Joseph wrong? Was he a secret polygamist? I've done those videos. And we even got more from W.W. Phelps. But Orange White was before that. And then John C. Bennett. I tied him to the Illuminati that I was testing for confirmation. Again, confirmed. Brigham Young and his Danites are Illuminati. And so Joseph leading the church, was he that bad of a leader that Brigham Young had to take over? Again, is he the founder that we celebrate today as a translator, I got arrested as a terrorist for it, of being wrong. See, the church did exactly what Constantine did. They turned this Joseph Smith history, which is apocalyptic literature, into real, literal history. And everybody in the know knows this is not accurate history. And I just told you why. It's apocalyptic literature. It's about Joseph Smith founding the church for the latter-day Christ, who would be a Mormon, as Joseph Smith tells us, but through the great and abominable church. A man like Joseph, who would be persecuted by the Mormons. And is it gold or is it golden? Why do Mormon apologists insist it is golden, when Joseph Smith clearly said gold? Well, because as literal history, it's not accurate. And so, yeah, they purposely don't want to get into the York rites with the Knights Templar that Senior was involved in Canandaigua, New York. The Knights Templar of Friday the 13th fame, because the Catholic Church tried to have them assassinated and rounded up, had Egyptian gold plates that they brought to America, purchased the land of the eastern half of the United States at the Kensington Stone by the Mandan Indian tribe for southern Illinois, where the Sun God tribe at the Sun God City, with the Sun God as their god, were performing human sacrifices to the Sun God. The blinding of the eye, representing the sun. The right eye of Horus. The two eyes of Horus, religion being this one, is the word in Egyptian for Peter, which is seer, in southern Illinois. And at the beginning of the latter days, there will be a solar eclipse over the whole of America on the Egyptian religious New Year, 21st of August 2017, and will be crossed at that location in southern Illinois on 8 April 2024 from Revelation 19. Also from the book of Samson, his destroying of the temple of the Philistines as his eyes are blinded. So where is that in Scripture, Travis? How did Joseph know? Yeah, 19 July 1840. Brigham Young didn't put it in. Why? Well, because Joseph calls him and his 12 Judas. That they were going to kill him. And so, who was with Joseph and Hiram in Carthage jail? Oh, Brigham Young's stooges, Willard Richards and John Taylor. So, what happened? Oh, Joseph Smith had a 6-shooter and with 3 of the balls chased out the mob. Well, then how did Hiram and Joseph die? What happened to those other 3 balls? Yeah. John Taylor was wrestling my 3rd great-grandfather, John Solomon Fulmer's pistol from Hiram. It went off, shot Hiram up in the jaw, felled him to the ground. Joseph saw that after chasing out the mob. See, the mob came up, John Taylor went for the pistol from Hiram, as Joseph stood at the top of the stairs. So Joseph fires, hears the shot in the room, turns into the room to see his brother on the ground, John Taylor standing over him with the pistol. Joseph shoots at John Taylor, hitting him 3 times, 1 time in the watch. The church used to have the hand on it. It was in the manual for the time when Joseph Smith shot John Taylor. They've since taken it out. I still have the picture, because you got to know it's in the particular manual, which is available online for everybody to see. And yeah, I do believe I can easily access that file. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. If I can find out which one it was that I put it in. There it is. And there it is. Let's see. 416. And the hole is small enough for a pistol, not a rifle. So it wasn't the mob that shot at John Taylor. It wasn't the mob who caused that hole. This is a pistol-size hole. And it's in John Taylor, in his watch. Did I get rid of... No, it's still here. Why did you... And so, yeah. Joseph then came into the room. Willard Richards, remember he went and got the wine for the sacrament? Well, he also got a 6-shooter himself. And came up from behind Joseph and shot him in the back. Mission accomplished. The Illuminati conquered Joseph Smith, whose father was responsible for having their temples destroyed in the anti-Mason movement from 9/11/1826, and took on the responsibility of completing the book that William Morgan was trying to write. And so the church denounces Joseph Smith, just like Joseph Smith says people were denouncing him for. His name was had for evil by the church, still to this day. W.W. Phelps did praise to the man, as he had already been flipped. And so, Earth must atone? What about the assassins who threatened you to betray Joseph? Don't they have to atone for the blood of Joseph Smith? Apparently not, because the church is able to get us arrested as terrorists, simply because the church is a fraud. And to add here at the end, just in case you were wondering, yes, Joseph Smith Sr. is also my ancestral father. It's through the Hoops family, through Hiram Smith. And so, yes, there's a reason why I've been doing all these videos for you. There's a reason why I started a new channel, Restoring Joseph Smith's Church of Christ. So, if Joseph Smith is the founding Christ of Mormonism, and it needs to be restored by a future Mormon out of the great and abominable church, a man like Joseph. Anybody catching on yet? And here the Mormons are persecuting him, as Joseph Smith prophesied they would. Here the church has destroyed his life, as Joseph Smith prophesied they would try to do. Are you listening? Do you understand? Because Mormons don't.